I know you like to do a lot of like repeat efforts too as well, right? Alactic endurance, you would say, and then also a lot of strength exercises too, which a lot of coaches don't believe in because they think that they're going to either get the fighter slower or, you know, be too much neural fatigue. And then, but there's ways to enhance that through a proper progression if you know how to do it from a systemized approach. Can you explain a little bit more like how you go about doing strength training for that athlete, for that combat sport athlete, and what they were lacking when they came to you? Because I've heard of this before. I just want you to reiterate a little bit.
Absolutely. I think I think some of the big mistakes that people make when they don't work with fighters, but they say, here's how I would program for a fighter, here's how I do this. A lot of them really kind of go back to a block periodization model. Mm-hmm. And I think to your point, if you do too much accumulation or saturation in a block model, mm-hmm. I think that you get a major amount of neural fatigue. And I think what I know ends up happening, and why I came up with the system that I did for our gyms, mm-hmm. our fight gyms, is, you know, we were seeing how we were inhibiting the technical sessions. Mm-hmm. They may have done a heavy lift with us when we were thinking we were going to do this block model, and they go to wrestling practice and they were smashed. Yeah. They were killed. And anytime your sessions were inhibiting technical sessions, like at the end of the day, these guys do strength and conditioning or not, that's not always going to be the X factor in the win. Yeah. At the end of the day, they need to be proficient technically. And if I was getting in the way of that, I had to create a new model. And, you know, we support, you know, Elevation Fight Team here. We support Factory X, Genesis Fight Team. Wow. We have some of the top fighters in the world. We just had Kamaru Usman fight, mm-hmm. Ian Heinisch, who just fought. Mm-hmm. We had Chris Gutierrez, who just fought. Yep. I mean, we are doing this with a lot of different fight camps, and I think we found a recipe that works because, one, we're not getting in the way of the technical sessions. We're not just crushing these guys, but we're finding the right gaps, the right times, because we modeled for so long that I think we've stumbled onto something pretty special. Yeah. But I think most people, so let me go back. Mm-hmm. So in camp, I do a daily undulated model, mm-hmm. where, you know, whether it's West Side modeling or whatever, I mean, there's a day where you do more of an alactic and more a day of a dynamic, and then a day of repeat effort. And so for me, that's kind of the goal. And you have to massage it a little bit. I wouldn't say it's exactly like that model, but we try to touch on all those different components within the camp instead of blocking it. I think the block creates too much residual fatigue. For sure. And if you block too much, I think you run into some guys that run into some really challenging times in their weight cut.